Good morning, Eigil. How are you?
Good morning. I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Very well indeed. Very well indeed. I want you to sicken everyone in our that's watching this by, if you could, turning your camera around and showing us the view from your roof deck, please.
Sure. You don't like my wall back here?
I do like your wall. Your wall's
Yeah,
beautiful,
yeah.
but we need
My,
we need
my
it.
yeah, sure. My office was too
Oh,
warm, so I up on the roof.
up on the roof. And you're in Oslo, right?
This is Oslo, yeah. So the city is over there. You can't see it from here, but a lot of forest,
Yeah,
which is
fun.
calming, I guess.
Yeah, very calming. Very calming. Yeah, what a beautiful, beautiful view, and really nice that you can just go and use that forest whenever you want, right?
Yeah, definitely. And I guess one of the effects of COVID is that you get to see it more often. But yeah.
Exactly, exactly. So, on that subject of Norway, I've been associated with Norway for many years in my life, but haven't had a chance to get back since all of this started. How is the sense in Norway, Oslo at the moment, with in terms of coming back, and what does it look like? What's the impact been that you can see?
Yeah. I guess as everywhere, it's very different from industry to industry and I guess area to area. In terms of Norway in general, I feel the general population is at least the sense I'm getting is that people are pretty calm about the situation.
Okay.
As at this this far. Um, you know there are some sectors that have been really badly hit, but then again, there are the welfare system taking care of it at least for a while.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
So I guess that kind of eases the situation a bit. But then again, there are others that are I was in the event industry before. Actually, that was my first startup actually when I was 19. But we can get into that. But that was some of that whole industry was the first one to get hit, and I have a lot of friends in that industry. So that was like total lockdown down from day one. They lost every contract they had was gone. But then there are opportunities in that, and you see talk to a couple of people that are looking for new ways to do events and to do digital events. So hopefully there is some innovation happening already in that space.
Yeah, I think so. I think you're absolutely right. I can't let that statement go because the theme around this Cruxcast was about startups, right?
Yeah.
And what the energy is around startups. And even closer to home here in the north of Scotland, I'm feeling a lot of energy around startups and new ways of working, new ways of thinking. So you just said there, my first startup at 19. Is that
Yeah.
right? Yeah. So
Yeah,
walk us through that.
kind of. Yeah, that was I wasn't the founder, but I was I had some friends that were in a technical environment, so they a few years older than me. They started like in audio visual rental company. So it was about renting out projectors, cameras, screens, and that kinds of stuff. And this was in 2003, 4, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess this whole field was really blooming. It was in the early days of that kind of industry. I remember we were traveling around with like in the early days we had 2 projectors at 3,000 lumens. And that was our whole rig. But then
Wow.
there was a lot of innovation happening in that area at the time. So yeah, we decided to really go for it. And the fun part was the guy that was the founder. He really taught me this, how important it was to be friendly and really love the customer, and this was a service business, and service is about giving them an ease of mind, and just ensuring that we're there to help, and we know our stuff. Like, if you hire us, it's gonna we're gonna do everything we can in our powers to make it work. And that kind of attitude, I think, was a little bit different in the industry.
Okay.
So the cool part was that I think within a year and a half, we basically owned the market in Norway, in that industry, and the only reason was that people enjoyed working with us.
So you had pretty much the same equipment as everyone else,
Yeah,
but you approached your service with a different attitude.
Yeah. So
Wow.
we could charge more,
Hmm.
but they knew that if they hired us, we would deliver, and most people enjoyed to work with us. So I think that was kind of cool in the industry where, there was a lot of grumpy people that, they felt a little bit stuck in the industry. And then we came along, a bunch of young guys that, tried to change this. And we just took the market really quickly. So that was a very interesting experience.
So yeah, and a good baptism for you to into the startup world and to show you what attitude and behavior and customer service can actually do for a business, right? So that's probably stuck with you all the way through your life.
Oh yeah, and the other part of that was just, we delivered services for these, bigger event firms that, manage events for all the large enterprises in Norway. So the other effect was that you got to meet a lot of people, a lot of, leadership groups and CEOs and all that kinds of stuff. So you got to see all these companies and see the culture in the companies.
Mm,
And the interesting part that, it made me almost study organizational psychology. I didn't
right.
do it, but that was like my top priority if I had gone that way, was just to see how the culture in the management was really reflected in the experience I had as a customer of their companies. So that could be like going to a gas station or to a hardware store. You would really like, this was almost like a one-to-one. Like if the management was like, if they had a nice culture, if they respected each other, if they respected me as a supplier, you would feel the same thing in the going in the stores. It
Yeah.
was just, that was just so amazing, for a young guy to see that, that relationship, essentially, and how that was reflected, the culture from the top down.
And I guess you could also see it in reverse.
Oh yeah.
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 Yeah. So you've had many interesting sort of roles since you were doing the renting projectors and all of that. But
Yeah.
you're. Has it always been startups, by the way? Is it? Did you continue on with startups?
No, I was a youth leader for a while in a local church, so I've been working with people for a while. Um, and then essentially, we were getting our second kid, and I just felt, the lifestyle didn't really fit that well, unfortunately, with having kids. And I'd always had, a hobby interest of software and engineering and everything technical. So it felt like the right time to pivot. So I essentially did a boot camp over in the US, where I got the basics for, becoming a developer. And I got a job pretty quickly in Oslo and was able to mature that skill.
Hmm.
And since then, it's definitely been a dream of mine to be able to, build something from the ground up, and being one of the founders. Yeah, I think it's been in my blood, essentially, like, that kind of mentality of, having the will and the curiosity to go there. But I guess the timing for starting ShiftX 2 years ago was, probably in most people's minds it would be, terrible.
Right.
Just got a house, had a stable job, 3 kids. In that sense, it didn't feel like the time. But the problem that we saw and that we were trying to solve, was so exciting for us. So we just couldn't let the opportunity pass.
Absolutely. And for those who don't know, and we'll put up all the website details and all of that. But ShiftX, intelligent business management platform, right?
Yeah.
So, and I guess even, talking about what you were doing, setting up, taking that breath to step off the plank into startup world. And it's also in a world where there is already business management platforms, right? So you're going up against some big players,
Mhm.
some innovative players, but you're approaching it from a completely different perspective, right?
Yeah. At least that's what we're saying and what we believe, and I think that's what we're seeing. So yeah. Yeah. And the story, I guess, is, me and my two co-founders, we had been consultants for, I guess, between 4 and 7 years ahead of starting ShiftX in different companies. But all of us had like customer facing roles. So whatever project we were working on, we had a lot to do with the customer. so we had just met a lot of companies and just seen a lot of culture and seen a lot of, the good and the bad and everything, I guess, and what we had started to, I guess, experience and kind of repeatedly experience was just the kind of, the it's almost like the magic. We felt like the magic that happened when we as external consultants came into a business, and you had all these different people from different departments come together in kind of this unnatural. It wasn't natural for them to meet, if it hadn't been for us coming in as consultants. Kind of just in that space, you just saw like, people became so much more, they moved from being problem focused to finding solutions, to starting to collaborate and just come together, and that was just so energizing, just to see that shift, when often at times it's just about getting people in the same room and getting people to talk.
Yeah.
So that was, essentially, probably for me the one most important, effect that I'm hoping to see with ShiftX as well, being able to do that kind of facilitation, getting people together, ensuring that everyone is seeing the same picture, that everyone is understanding, a problem in the same way, and how that can really save time and money and make a better company culture. Even like, you would have people be more, friendly and more supportive. So these are all like some of the deeper effects that we're hoping to be able to help achieve.
So was ShiftX always in the background, or are you saying that it came from going into businesses and seeing the power of putting people together to solve? Did ShiftX come out of that experience?
Yeah, I essentially, like, I guess in along the way, we did some customer journey mapping, we did some process mapping, we got insights into how different businesses worked with processes, which, to many it's a term, like the word process is to many, frightening.
Yeah.
Because if you don't work, like, if you don't work with processes like professionally in some way, then it's just something that you might have to be part of in some, I don't know it. But in our view, like, any business out there is essentially, you could essentially visualize that business as a network of processes.
Yeah.
And what this is usually called, like, professional, like, you have, some people call it enterprise architecture, business process modeling, and then you have the whole automation space, which is, a lot of companies are working with that as well today. But what we saw was that there was a huge gap in delivering a product that would let everyone or anyone take part in that kind of process discovery, or just the knowledge sharing, ensuring that everyone could understand the process in the business in a way that wouldn't require like weeks of training, or having a consultant decipher a technical visualization. So that's our angle, is that we're coming from the consumer side or from the end user side. We want to make something that essentially taking enterprise architecture and business process modeling and making it something that everyone can take part of and take part in, making it easy enough that you don't need a degree, you don't need any experience. It's about visualizing the story of the business. Like, how does this work? How do we onboard a customer? How do we do this procurement? How do we do like oil well drilling? Like, what's the process? What's the story? How does it work? Make it friendly, make it approachable. So that's our core idea.
I think we've just come up for the name for this Cruxcast: visualizing the business story. I like that one. That's a good one. So yes, you're right. When we talk about business management platforms, I've been in many companies who've got big, clunky, scary systems. You open them, within 5 minutes, you're lost. You don't really see how it relates to you as an individual, or it's half filled up with information because no one really uses it. We said we would at the start, but now it's just, you know, a little bit broken and some of the stuff's outdated. But I have to say, one of the biggest barriers for me that I've seen for getting people onto the system, whichever one it might be, was just the look of it. And I know this is a small piece of it, but having looked at ShiftX and looked at what I've got from you, it looks like it's a nice space to be. It looks like it's somewhere you would want to be, right? It's beautiful.
Yeah. Thank you. I'll I guess I'll bring that back to our UX designer Thomas. Yeah, you know, we all came from, you know, building mostly consumer facing solutions. So I think it's in our DNA making something that is, you know, it hasn't, you know, it doesn't have to look good just to look good. It's about, you know, being friendly, being approachable.
Yeah.
I think that's our take on it. And you know, so essentially, you know, we spend a lot of time with ShiftX just figuring out and you know, really knocking our heads to the wall sometimes. You know, how can we do something that is to many frightening or extremely complex? How can we make this very easy and approachable? And that's been it's been hard, definitely, but I think we are there. And
Yeah,
that's what
how do you turn business process mapping into something cool? That's an amazing challenge, isn't it?
yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess you guys started ShiftX when, two years ago?
Yeah, I guess it was May of 2018.
And where are you now in your journey?
Yeah, we are, you know, we've grown from 3 to 6 employees. So, you know, we're not running super fast in that way, but you know, we're taking this one step at a time currently.
Yeah.
We had our first pilot version of the product ready about 8 months in. And then we had 5 different pilot customers in different segments in Norway that we're testing it for about 6 months before we kind of, I guess, soft launched it in the sense of, you know, just us reaching out to more customers. And we're currently, I think we're getting close to 30 customers.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Mostly in the Nordics. But, you know, there are different sizes. We've, you know, tried different approaches. And to us, it's been about, you know, I think, you know, one way you could look at what we're doing, we're trying to take, you know, business process model notation, which some people might know, which is like the industry standard for visualizing processes. We're trying to take that complex universe and making it very simple. So that has taken time in the sense of us just, you know, really having to dig down deep. And in that sense, we haven't rushed out to get customers. We will try to get strategic customers that, you know, will make sense for us as collaborators as well in the early phase, just getting feedback.
Yeah.
And working closely with them. And I think that's been very important for us. You know, getting the foundation right and just ensuring that we deliver on, you know, the product being able to pick up in a few minutes for anyone, and even more important, that the end result, that if you were to like print out a visualization, then you don't need to have a consultant, you know, walk you through it. It should be readable in itself. So that's been, you know, some of the criteria we set for ourselves.
Very good. So 2 years in, run about 30 customers. You've gone through all your testing. You've got your product launched. You've got your customers, and then COVID comes along. I guess, have you seen any sort of downward impact as a young business? Or has it just been, you know, steady the ship and keep things going?
Yeah, I think, you know, I think we've seen both. You know, we scramble as well. Like, I guess everyone, like when it hit Norway, I think it was March 12th or 13th. And, you know, I haven't met my colleagues face to face since. So, you know, there was a week, I would say, of just, you know, a little bit of scrambling, trying to understand the situation and just, you know, is there anything we can do? Is there anything we can do to help? You know, that was a part of it. And, you know, is there anything we can do strategically to should we change our roadmap to kind of make ShiftX better, even better, like remote friendly? And we did some of that. And we had some deals that we were working on within the oil and gas sector, and those naturally kind of went on an indefinite pause.
Yeah.
But then again, in some of our customers, we saw increased usage, and we saw, more than ever before, it was important for them to be able to collaborate on the problems they were trying to solve, and ensure that everyone is actually seeing the business the same way. So I think it's an opportunity as well, definitely. And then in Norway there was some like it's something called Innovation Norway, which is like a government startup
fund.
Yeah, I guess that we talked to them as well, and we were able to extend one of our grants that we got earlier. So yeah, there was some aid as well that were targeted startups that we were able to get some help from as well. But yeah, I think for us there are I remember in Norway there's another startup called Cutters. They're far ahead of us, but they're trying to change how you get a haircut. And before COVID, my hair was longer actually. But of course, like they were impacted like
crazy,
in a whole different way than us. They had to lay off or suspend almost every employee. So in that sense, we feel a little bit lucky that we're able to continue as we have, and we have signed a few new contracts, and we've seen some customers expand as well. So in that sense, we feel blessed and lucky in the midst of all.
Very good, very good. I think I don't think it's luck with you guys. I think it's hard work and a fascination with your subject. Yeah, it's really good.
We are nerds for sure, I guess.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Cool nerds, cool nerds. Listen. We're going to put up a link to your website because I think it would be helpful for people to see what you're doing. I do wish you all the best for the future, and maybe we can hook up at some point and do a revisit in 6 months or so and see what's happening at ShiftX, or see if you've taken it in a new direction or whatever. If that's okay. Could you do us one favor and just give us one last view to say goodbye to you with the forest behind you, just to make us jealous?
I'll show you Oslo out there, I guess.
Yeah.
And you might even spot the downhill ski slope called Trivan.
Very good.
See some orange. It's probably too blurry, but yeah, we're close to the downhill ski slopes.
Right, we're truly sickened now by where you live. But it's been nice to talk to you today, man. I wish you all the best, and we'll hook up with you soon. Thank you so much, Eigil.
Thank you so much.
Bye bye.